Good evening to each and every enlightened soul who has joined today's online expert lecture series. This expert lecture is being hosted around the theme of UN Sustainable Development Goals and under the expert lecture series 21-23, and today is the fourth lecture of the year 2023. We are really thrilled and delighted to have eminent speakers in these expert lecture series from around the globe. The session doesn't end at the culmination of the lecture being delivered by the expert, but it gets all the more nourished by the valuable inputs and insights of our highly experienced and intellectually superior audience from across the globe. So, for today's expert lecture on teaching Bhagavad-Gita to the Society for Sustainable Development, we have with us a very seasoned and experienced speaker of the day, Dr. Pratibha Verma ma'am. Without taking much time, I would humbly call upon our webinar director ma'am, Professor Hemlata Talesra ma'am, to kindly come forward for a welcome note and introduction of the esteemed speaker. Over to you, Pratibha.
Thank you. Thank
Hemlata
you,
ma'am,
Dr.
please.
Seema. Thank you. Honorable Dr. Martin, today's speaker, Dr. Pratibha Verma, dignitaries, attendees, and scholars. On behalf of different collaborative organizations, it's a great honor for me to welcome all of you. The expert lecture series was started from January 2021 and still continue. So I think I believe that this is a perfect platform to exchange and share the expertise. So before expert lecture, I welcome Dr. Martin, a great visionary, philosopher, writer, and social reformer, president of WCPA and chief executive Earth Constitution Institute USA. Dr. Martin is an author, a large number of books and articles, traveling, lecturing worldwide to promote the unity of the earth, one constitution, one parliament, and holistic planetary transformation. We are very much grateful to Dr. Martin for giving his valuable time for blessing and opening remarks in most of the lectures. So before expert lecture, I request Dr. Martin kindly for his blessing and opening remarks.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Professor Hemlata. I'm very pleased that today's subject, the Bhagavad Gita in relationship with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, because the Bhagavad Gita is about the transformation of consciousness. And it's about something that's so fundamental that needs, in my view, needs to be there in human life. And that is an understanding of what the Gita calls karma yoga, the karma of action. We need proper action. We need right action. And I think that this topic, which I haven't heard raised in this forum to this point, would be very important. And I only wish I could stay with it, but I'm in the middle of something very important this morning, and I can't be here. But I just want to read a couple of lines from chapter 3 of the Gita, where it says, all actions take place in time by the interweaving of the forces of nature. But man, lost in self-delusion, thinks that he himself is the actor. But the man who knows the relationship between the forces of nature and actions sees how some forces of nature work upon other forces of nature, and he becomes no longer their slave. Right? This is the kind of insight that I think we need in environmental studies. Instead of a world of expansion and economic domination and continual pollution, we need to be in harmony with the forces of nature and understand them, and through self-sacrifice of our egoistic desires, find a way to live that is articulated in the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So I just want to say what an important topic this is for all of us to reflect on. And I want to give my blessings to this forum and underline how important it is. And I just wish I could stay with it, but I have obligations in the immediate morning this morning. Thank you very much, all. We appreciate your being here.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Martin. We have no words for your encouragement and support. We wish to receive your guidance in future also. Thank you very much, sir, for this, and continue to look forward your blessings. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
So now I welcome our today's speaker, Dr. Pratibha Verma, working age professor and AMP, preacher associated with Puratattva, Kedspati, Mayapur, an institute engaged in spreading spiritual teaching based on Bhagavad-Gita, and AMP Srimad Bhagavatam to masses. Earlier, Dr. Pratibha was working as head of department, Shastric Studies, Bhakti Vedanta, College of Vedic Education, Navi Mumbai, Director of Bhagavad Geosciences, Navi Mumbai. Dr. Pratibha Verma completed her PhD in education on Srimad Bhagavad Gita and holds 3 master's degree, MPhil, Zoology, Toxicology, MSc Zoology, and MAd, and also completed a degree of Bhakti Shastra in 2021 from ISKCON Board of Examination and ISKCON Teachers Training Program from ISKCON Ministry of Education, Mayapur. Dr. Pratibha has 20 years of teaching experiences as TGT in Science and Biology and Harmony as an honorary lectures in Zoology. In postgraduate college, preaching spiritual sciences from last 12 years in ISKCON, International Society of Krishna Consciousness, since 2011. Also served as HOD, Shastric Studies from 2016 to 2021, and taught various courses of Shastric Studies to 950 students since 2016. Teaching Bhakti Shastri to a group of 30 students, she is conducting regularly online lectures on teaching of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavad, which are available on YouTube under the channel Dr. Janki DD ISKCON, and 190 videos are available on YouTube with more than 31,850 viewers. Her innovative research on direct development, a model on completing intelligence content derived from Bhagavad Gita, earned her the Best Paper Presentation Award in 2019 from RI Regional Institute of Education, Bhubaneswar, at International Conference. 8 researches and research papers were published on different aspects in international and national journals on empirical analysis of complete intelligence, content, academic performance, physical fitness, well-being, developing positive attitude and behavior, managing women's life challenges and behavior, and Vedic perspective, effectiveness of spiritual of human mind, Environmental Sciences, Essential Life Values from Bhagavad-Gita for comprehensive development and success of the students. So regularly and continuing, she is writing articles in different magazines, also completed a book on Vesvatva, equital Bhagavati Sadachar. And Dr. Verma is delivering her presentation on teaching Bhagavad Gita to the Society for Sustainable Development. It is her vast experience and practical knowledge. She has very good practical knowledge. So I request Dr. Pratibha Verma to deliver her lecture. Dr. Pratibha Verma.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Professor Hemlata Talesra, Madam, for giving such a vast introduction about me. I don't know I am eligible for that or not. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Very warm good evening to all of you. First of all, I want to pay my sincere gratitude to Professor Hemlata Talesra, Madam, to give me this splendid opportunity to speak on this international educational platform in this expert lecture series on UN Sustainable Development Goals. I welcome everyone for coming and joining this presentation, and a special thanks to Dr. Martin, Dr. Vasif, Dr. Srimatyagi Madam, Dr. Murthy sir, and a special thanks to Dr. Dharmendra Shrotriya sir, because he is my PhD guide. I requested him to join today and he has joined. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you all the participants who have joined. Thank you all. Now I request to webmasters to please share my presentation. Okay, madam, if webmaster is not,
Yes.
then can I try? Okay, he has done.
Yeah.
Oh, fine. Thank you so much. So my name is Dr. Pratibha Verma, and presently I teach online Shastri courses, as Hemlata Madam has told, to people for the welfare of society. And today I will deliver my lecture on teaching Bhagavad-Gita to the Society for Sustainable Development. Next slide, please. Sustainable development related to social awareness. And being socially aware for sustainable development means understanding human behavior and its influence on society, committing to change our activities to protect the society, environment, and the planet, and directing our activities towards welfare and sustenance of the society. Most educationists interpret education as a tool for addressing healthcare, human rights, human values, community connection, environmental issues, and so on. But sustainable development in education involves learning about the environment, community well-being, making sensible decisions, uplifting welfare and quality of life by improving access to basic health, and understanding world trends to face the future with hope and confidence. Next slide, please. So, what is the need of teaching Bhagavad Gita to the society? Why it is necessary? Generally, we all have seen that in all schools, colleges, and universities, they target students to give more and more information and knowledge which makes them intelligent, and that intelligence they use for earning money in the form of getting salary from job or developing their own business. But Bhagavad Gita adds value towards creating the right character and attitude, which helps in overall development of the people and society as well. Teaching Bhagavad Gita aims towards the improvement of the knowledge, attitude, and skills necessary to enhance the natural balance in the society. The timings and situation when the Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjuna in Battle of Kurukshetra in itself speaks about its effectiveness in dealing with critical situations. When Lord Krishna spoke this Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, and Arjuna requested, before speaking, Arjuna requested to Lord, kindly take my chariot to the Kurukshetra battle where both armies are standing and waiting for the fight. So Krishna took his chariot, and when he reached over there, he looked both the sides. And what did he found? He found everywhere, both the sides, either his father, his grandfather, teachers, maternal uncles, paternal uncles, brothers, son, grandson, friends, well-wishers, all were present. After seeing all of them, he was bewildered because he was filled with full of compassion. That time, he was not ready to fight. That was the right time when Krishna told this Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So this Bhagavad Gita is very much authorized in present condition also. Because in this age of Kali, people are lazy, less intelligent, quarrelsome, unlucky, disturbed and misguided. They don't know what are the moral values of the life, how to spend their life, how to do their activities. So there is a need to provide a holistic and interdisciplinary approach to education that helps in overall development of human beings. Bhagavad Gita teaches us to optimize our life, develop in our career, develop our interpersonal relationship and productivity. Next slide, please. Teaching Bhagavad Gita to society is very important. Why? Because Bhagavad Gita is not an ordinary book. It is a wisdom literature which helps everyone to completely mastering their life in all four dimensions. These all four dimensions I have derived from Bhagavad Gita, and these dimensions are physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. Physical dimensions are physical intelligence related to the health, which helps in keeping us organized, energized, bring our health, happiness, and make us disciplined. While emotional intelligence related with the emotional health, which keeps a person mentally balanced, stable, enthusiastic, and motivated all the time. Intellectual intelligence makes a person creative, focused to their goal, and sharp so that they can think critically. And spiritual intelligence related to spiritual health, which keeps a person socially aware, conscious, constructive, happy, and peaceful. Next slide, please. Now, here I'm going to take one by one all four dimensions in detail. So first dimension is physical dimension. Physical dimensions are concerned with the individual's overall physical well-being. It generally reflects the body's strength, flexibility, and ability to fight against diseases. It is a well-noted fact, which everyone knows, that if one does not take care of his health, eventually deteriorates his quality of life, his mental status. Even he deteriorates his interpersonal relationship, and it affects his career also. So it is very important to have our body physically fit, fine, and active all the time. Bhagavad Gita teaches us how we can keep our body perfectly fit and active all the time to optimize productivity along with improved brain power and reduce risk of different diseases. It is said in Bhagavad-Gita that who is regulated in his habit of eating, sleeping, recreation and work can mitigate all material pains and suffering. It is mentioned in chapter 6 verse 17. Yuktahara viharasya yuktachestasya karmasu yuktaswapnabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha, means if a person regulates in his eating habits, in his viharasya, in his recreational activities, in his all kind of work, in his all efforts, in his all prescribed duties, even if he regulate in sleeping and awakening, he can mitigate all his problems of life and sufferings, and he become happy. It is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 verse 16. Na ati ashnastu yogo asti, na cha ekantam anshantaha, na cha ati swapnashilasya jagrato nevacharjuna, means those who eat too much or too little, sleep too much or does not sleep enough, cannot become a yogi or attain success. Because if a person eats more, it leads to sleep more. And if a person sleep more, he becomes lazy, and laziness affects his potentials. He cannot work up to his full potentials. Generally, it is a fact that one should sleep for 6 hours if he want to be healthy and do his all work perfectly. He should sleep 6 hours. If a person is not healthy, can six more than 6 up to 7 hours. But if a person sleep more, cannot achieve his potentials, and less sleep also affect his health. It will deteriorate. Please change the slide. So what we should eat and how much we should eat, that is also mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita, because eating significantly influence our activity, our productivity. Bhagavad-Gita mentioned in chapter 17 verse 8. Ayu sattva bala arogya sukh priti vivardhana rasya snigdha sthira hridya ahara satvika priya, means food that are fresh, juicy, wholesome, nourishing and pleasing to the heart, promotes the lifespan, strength, heart, health, happiness and give us satisfaction. Whereas the food which are too bitter, too sour, salty, burning hot, pungent, dry or sizzling, very hot, cause suffering, sadness and diseases. Katva, amla, lavan, ati, ushna, tishna, ruksha, vidahinaha, ahara, rajasya, ista, dukha, shoka, amaya, prada. Similarly, food that is tasteless, decomposed, putrid, give bad smell, consisting the remnants of the other person, keep untouchable things. It leads to distress, infection and different diseases. So we should be very careful according to Bhagavad Gita what should we eat and what should we avoid while eating. So eating and sleeping both are important. Please go back to the previous slide. With eating and sleeping, practicing yoga or doing exercise is also very important. That is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 verse 11, 12 and 13. How to sit, how to do exercises. There is a shloka verse comes, Shucho deshe pratisthapya sthiramasanam atmanaha na ati uchritam na ati nicham jailajan kushottaram, means you should go to a secluded place, spread a kusha grass over there and cover it with soft cloth and then sit over it with firmness and practice yoga and purify your heart by controlling your mind, senses and all the activities. And how to sit, that is also mentioned. Samam kaya shiro grivam dharyan achalam sthira samprekshe nasika gram swam Deshascha anavalokayan means whenever you sit for exercise, for yoga, you should not look at here or there. Focus at the tip of your nose and sit straight. Keep your backbone, your neck, and your head straight. They should not move. That is the right way. So this is also mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita. Actually, Bhagavad-Gita teaches in every aspect of life what we should do and what we should avoid. Next slide, please. Next comes to emotional dimensions. Emotional health is a measurement of the ability of our thinking, our feeling, and willing. It is all related to our mind and its behavior in different life situations. Like we know that mind has three functions: thinking, feeling, and willing, which all culminate into the emotional intelligence. That emotional intelligence deals with sense of well-being, our thoughts, action, habit, and therefore behavior. Like whatever we think, feel, or desire, it makes our thoughts. And these thoughts start work in this way that we start to plan in our mind and start to work with our senses. That makes our activity. So thoughts leads to activity. Whenever we keep on doing same kind of activity or action, it makes our habit. And this habit leads us to our behavior. Whenever we continuously follow the same habit, it makes our behavior and ultimately the destiny. So we need to be very careful before thinking, willing, or feeling, because it makes our basics in our mind. Bhagavad Gita clearly identifies and provides solution to control all these things, to control all our emotions. It is mentioned in chapter 6, verse 5 and 7, 5 and 6. What? That mind is our best friend and enemy as well. Atmeva he atmano bandhur, atmeva ripuratmanah. And how to control it? That is also mentioned. Bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmevatmana jitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmeva shatruvat. Means one who has controlled his mind, the mind remains his friend. And one who is failed to do so, mind will remain his greatest enemy. So everything comes from our mind. Mind is our best friend or our enemy. This fact Arjun knows very well. He asked to Krishna, Lord Krishna, the nature of mind is flickering. Oh Krishna, nature of mind is flickering, restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. It is very difficult to control it. I can control the raging wind, but I cannot control the mind. That time, Krishna told him, Asanchayam mahabaho manodurnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grahyate. I know, Krishna told, I know that it is very difficult to control the mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. So what should be practiced? Whatever is favorable in your career, for your life, for social development, for sustainable development, that should be practiced. And rest, what is unfavorable, we should be detached from it. Next slide, please. So there are other aspects of emotional dimensions like good relation, motivation, enthusiasm, and meditation. Good relations are very important because they support us socially, in our family, with our friends, which holds immense benefit, which helps in keeping our mental health good whenever we interact with the society, with the family and friends. So keeping good relation is very important for our mental health. Motivation is the force behind one's action and behavior, which leads a person to become attentive, self-controlled, and less reactive. Like Krishna motivate Arjuna by telling Shudram Hridaya Dormalyam Tyakto Uttishta Panantapa. कि हे परंतप, O Arjun, please get rid of your petty weakness of heart and get up, get ready to fight. So motivation is important, which make us fill us with enthusiasm and make us ready to work. So what we should be? We should do? We should be less reactive, because as we know, every action has a reaction. So we should not react to every action. Even we should respond. For example, if we take one water bottle and other any cold drink bottle, and if we shake both and keep them aside, what will happen? The water, if you will open both, the water will be settled. It will be calm and quiet. There will be no effervescence. While whenever you keep the soda bottle and open its lid, effervescence comes. This, through this example, we can understand that we should not react. We should be always calm in all the situations. That comes from motivation. So that is the motivation is the main theme which Krishna told Arjuna for the Bhagavad-Gita. He was keeping him motivated all the time. Next is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm means action. Without enthusiasm, one cannot be successful. Enthusiasm is that much compulsory to get success in our life, and it relates to good attitude, perform his duty perfectly, keep the person open, eager, and determined to become successful. Enthusiasm mentioned in chapter 18, verse 26. Mukta sango anhamvadi dratyu utsaha samanvitaha siddhe asiddhyo nirvikaraha karta satvik uchyate, means if a person is detached, free from false ego, is determined and enthusiastic, is undisturbed between success and failure, is the successful person. He can achieve success easily, because as the phrase is there, one cannot dim the light if it shines from within. So if you have enthusiasm within yourself, no one can stop you, no obstacle can stop you. So to become successful in your life, enthusiasm is a crucial factor. Next is the meditation. One must certainly withdraw the unsteady mind and bring it back to the control of the self with the intelligence. That is meditation. And it is mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita chapter 6, verse 26. Yato yato nischalati manah chanchalam sthiram tatas tato niyam yetat atmani eva vasham nayet. Wherever your mind flickering, because of its flickering nature, wherever your mind wanders and agitate, bring it back, regulate it under the control of self with intelligence, because intelligence helps in reducing the stress and help in focusing the goal. Whenever a person is under stress, hormone like cortisol, adrenaline releases, which increase his blood pressure, his heart rate, and give lot of trouble like hypertension and so many things. So it can be reduced through meditation, through doing exercises. So whenever we do exercises, we do meditation, good hormones like serotonin, dopamine, endorphin, these release, which make us healthy, happy, and peaceful. So that is the work of meditation. It helps in reducing the focus. Next slide, please. Next, come to the intellectual dimension. Intellect plays a very important role in the development of the human being, because intellect is related to our creative abilities, our critical thinking, focus, self-assessment, and so many other qualitative dimensions, qualities, which make one more mindful and better at reasoning skills. Bhagavad-Gita provides extensive details for improving intellect strength for the greater well-being of the people. As it is mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita chapter 2, verse 56. Dukkheshu anudigna manaha, sukheshu vigat ispraha, veet raga bhaya krodha, stitidhi muni uchyate. Here, the definition of steady intelligence person has given that one whose mind remains undisturbed amidst misery, who does not crave for happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, anger, is called a sage of steady intelligence. And what does he do? A person who has steady intelligence, he is working with calmness. He is a perfect thinker. His critical thinking is perfect. He develops abstract thinking. He is always clear in his thoughts and dexterity in his field. Whatever field he works, he is always good, perfect. Next slide, please. Other aspects of intellectual dimensions are critical thinking, focus, self-awareness. Critical thinking is the power of developing logical adaptability and acting in accordance with time, place, and environment and the object. Focus, when the person's intelligence is steady or one pointed towards his goal, he becomes creative. He becomes to solve his problem. Success without delay. As mentioned in chapter 2, Bhagavad-Gita chapter 2, verse 41. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekaha kuru nandana bahushakha henantasya buddhayo avavasayinam. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekaha kuru nandana means one should have one pointed intelligence, means one should focus on one thing to achieve success. If he focuses simultaneously on various things, he cannot get proper results up to his potentials. He will get small things, but not full potential. If he wants to achieve his full potential, reach up to the pinnacle of the success, then he should keep his mind focused to that goal. Self-awareness is also a crucial factor for self-assessment. As we all know that we need to assess ourselves always, all the time, because unless one is not deeply familiar with our own strengths and weaknesses, cannot achieve success in life. So that is the important factor. Whatever our strengths are, we should focus on it, on our talents, on our skills, and whatever weaknesses we have, we should recognize them and work on them, transform them into our strengths. So assessment is very much required. People who have negative attitude, poor self-concept and poor self-esteem lose their hope and fail in their life activities. As mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita chapter 1 verse 45, Yadi mam apratikaram asastra shastra panaya. There, Arjuna told to Lord Krishna before he start the fight, after seeing his relatives in both the parties, he says to Arjuna that, "Oh Krishna, I will not fight. It will be better for me if Dhritarashtra's son kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield." So that shows the poor self-esteem. It should not be there. We should keep our self-esteem up, keep our attitude positive, that we learn everything from Bhagavad-Gita. Next slide, please. Here we come to spiritual dimension, the fourth dimension. That is the most important dimension of CIQ. CIQ, the symbol is there in each and every slide on the top. That is the symbol of my PhD work. It has 4 Qs, means physical quotient, intellectual quotient, spiritual quotient, and emotional quotient. So that symbol I have taken. So what is spiritual dimension? Spiritual dimension helps one to know the purpose of the life, the state of excelling in the life. It helps in improving the quality of our life, feeling of inner peace, and reducing anxieties. It helps in creating balance with all the dimensions whatever dimensions I have mentioned, physical, emotional, and intellectual. These all are balanced when spiritual dimension is there in our life. As mentioned in Bhagavad-ग chapter 3, verse 42, Indriyani paranyahu, indriyebhya param manah, manasastu para buddhe, yo buddhe paratastu saha. Here it is mentioned that hierarchy or of these four things are mentioned, that mind is higher than the senses, intelligence is higher than the mind, and soul is still higher than the intelligence. So after knowing this, that soul is the highest, we should control our senses and the mind through our spiritual intelligence. So what is spiritual intelligence? What does it do? Spiritual intelligence encourages people in all the situations to use their social awareness, aptitude, and insight to become more effective as individuals and as members of the society. So spiritual intelligence, some qualities are like person should be helpful. He should be always ready to help others, enthusiastic all the time, and should have good consciousness. He should be fearless, and he should pay gratitude, which I will mention in next slide. So everything, come back to the previous slide, please. Everything depends on our food. Spiritual intelligence also depends on our food. Whatever we eat, it brings our intelligence sharp. How? It is mentioned in the Vedas, Ahar Shuddho Sattva Shuddhi, Sattva Shuddho Dhruva Smriti, Smriti Lambhe Sarva Granthi Nam Vipramokshaha. Means, if one eat the sanctified food, the purified food, his life, his existence becomes purified. And when his life is purified, his small fibers of the brain or memory or brain power also sanctified. And when one's brain, the whole body is sanctified, purified, he gets liberation or success in all the endeavors. So in general, we can say that pure consciousness starts from our food, whatever we eat. If we eat good things, healthy things, it will purify our consciousness. And with purified consciousness, we can achieve success and we can achieve our potential, whatever we want to. Those whose faith is very deep and who has practiced control their mind and senses attain divine knowledge. This is the formula given in Bhagavad-ग. What is supreme peace? Chapter 4, verse 39. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatparah संयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा param shantim achirena adhigacchati. When one is faithful in controlling his mind and senses, he gets divine knowledge, and through that transcendental knowledge, he quickly attains everlasting supreme peace. So what is that knowledge? Knowledge is simple: to control the mind and the senses. One who learned how to control his mind and the senses can achieve anything, can achieve happiness, can achieve supreme peace. Next slide, please. So other aspects of spiritual dimensions are gratitude. Gratitude is most important in our life because it increases the incidence of positive emotion in our life. It increases the kindness, satisfaction, determination, peace, and happiness. So one should give proper respect to God, demigod, qualified brahmanas, spiritual master, teachers, and superior people like father, mother, or any person who is conversant with the Vedic knowledge. This is also mentioned in Bhagavad-ग, chapter 17, verse 14. Devadvij Guru Pragyam Pujanam Shaucham Arjavam Brahmacharyam Ahinsam Cha Shariram Tapa Uchyate. So Devadvij Guru Pragyam. We should pay respect to all those who are elders, who give us something. We should always pay gratitude, be thankful to all them. Next is empathy. Empathy results in expression of compassion, humanity, sympathy. Because as we know, at the time of quarrel in the Kurukshetra, when Arjuna told, he set aside and he told, Kripaya Parayavisto Vishidantam Idam Abravit. When he has seen both the parties, his heart filled with lot of compassion for his all relatives and well-wishers. He was not ready to fight. That was because of harmony, because of sympathy, because of compassion that should be there. Even though that quality is different, because Arjun, to Arjuna, Krishna told, give up your petty weakness of heart and get up, get ready to fight. So this empathy and that motivation is little different. Let me continue. I can explain it if time will remain. So next is happiness. The highest kind of happiness can only be achieved by practice of spirituality. Highest kind of happiness is also mentioned. Shaknoti he viyah sodum praksharir vimokshanat kam krodha udbhavam vegam sayukta sa sukhi naraha. Means a person who is able to tolerate urges of his senses, urges of his desire and anger, can be happy, and that happiness will be everlasting if he can control his anger, his desires, and his urges of senses. Five senses, knowledge, gain senses are there. So control all of them. If a person can do it, he can be happy all the time. And side by side, that happiness can be achieved by paying gratitude, showing empathy to the people, compassion, improving social connection by developing positive relationship among society. Whenever we spend some time in nature, in open air, in hilly area, near riverbank or sea beaches, or in greenery, in nature, and sometimes in religious places, these things, whenever we are in contact with in nature, these things boost our spiritual health, reduce our stress, anger, fear, and increase our emotions. So if we feel stressful, depressed, we should go to the nature to be happy, to release positive emotions. Next slide, please. So here, now I'm coming to recap Sustainable Development Guidelines from Bhagavad-Gita. And here I have taken important 10 points, which I have mentioned. So important 10 points are there. First, balanced diet. We should eat balanced diet. Second, we should take sufficient rest. Both of them are required to keep our body fit and fine and healthy. Third, doing regular physical exercise benefits both the body and the mind as well. Fifth, 1, 2, 3, fourth, okay. Balanced relation. Balanced relation help to stay with family and friends, to remain happy and free from all kind of mental health. Whenever we share our things with friends, with family members, with our near and dear, we get rid of all mental health problems. Fifth point, meditation. Meditation keeps our mind steady and focused. Sixth, remain enthusiastic, because enthusiasm is very much required for our success. Sixth, focus on your strength. Whatever is required, focus on that. Seventh, eighth, be creative all the time, and pay gratitude. That means help others. And 10th is be grateful to those who help, means pay gratitude to those who help you in any way. So whenever all these 10 values, balanced diet, sufficient rest, physical activity, balanced relations, meditation, enthusiasm, focus, creativity, help, and gratefulness, whenever all these values, these are most important, when these values are integrated and applied, one will be free from physical and mental health problems, and he will remain happy all the time and peaceful. That peace will be the supreme peace, will not go, means that person will not disturb at all. Next slide, please. To conclude my topic, I want to say that by following all these values of Bhagavad-Gita, which directs towards welfare of the sustainable development, we may cure the current issue of society at large. In Bhagavad-Gita, everything mentioned systematically. What is the knowledge of eternal soul? What is body? What is the role of mind? How we should work? What is the art of working without reaction? What are the three modes? How these three modes influence all the human beings? What are our regulated habits? How one should speak? How to eat? How to recreate? How to control one's mind and senses, how to meditate, and so on. So many things are given in Bhagavad Gita. This time is very less to mention, to take all the qualities. It needs a lot of time. Like I take lectures, and in 1 hour lecture, I take only 5 verses. And 5 verses, sometimes I feel time should be more. So Bhagavad Gita is full of moral values which can make our life successful. Like you must have seen, so many motivators are there. So how do they get all the values? Basically, they all get from Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is a miracle book. It's not the ordinary book. It's not the holy book. It's a manual for human life. So teaching from Bhagavad Gita can be practiced as a powerful catalyst for transformation of our life. And achieving such a position will naturally produce capable individuals striving for the ethical and sustainable development of the society. With this, I thank you all, and I finish my presentation.